back on the road again, as always, it seems like. And if you're just joining us for the very first time, this is the Coffee Q&A, where we do daily discussions about coffee and stuff around it with at 10 a.m. Eastern time here on the Onocoffee channel. So today I had to get some stuff going on. I got to go to the mill a little while, but thought we would go and have some. One of the most ubiquitous things here in America is coffee and a donut, right? And so there's this place that I first discovered, not really discovery, but I first found a place. Kent, how are you, man? Good to see you. We call it the Amish Market. That's really called the Pennsylvania Dutch Market, and it's only opened Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, from like 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Thursday, Friday, and like 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturdays. And it's one of these places, if you don't have it in your area, if you've not seen one, it's like a big market. They basically have taken over an old grocery store. Keone, aloha to you. And Mom, how are you? Good morning. And they took over an old grocery store, and they basically have sectioned it off into all these different vendors, butchers, poultry guy, candy, snacks, different eateries. There's a pretzel place. But one of the places there is a donut shop, and it's called Mary's Coffee and Donuts, I think it is. And I remember one day I walked in, and I wasn't really thinking much about it. I just walked in, I walked over to the donut place, and I was like, let me have a donut, just one glazed donut. And I took a bite of it, and I was like, oh my gosh, it was like immaculate. It was warm, and it's still fresh out of the fryer. So basically I had fried it and just had dunked it, and I had gotten it at a very opportune time. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I walked back to the counter and bought a bunch more, because it's one of these that are like raised donuts, but they're really kind of like thin and very chewy. For me personally, to my palate and my taste and the textures that I like, it was one of the most perfect donuts I'd ever, perfect donuts, beautiful donut. However, the only problem is that I've learned over the years is that you have to go there at the right moment, when that donut is freshly out of the fryer. If it's been sitting around for a while, it's still good, but it's not awesome, right? Not awesome. So today we're gonna go there and check it out. This used to be Noxema Corporation, and they sold off to a developer. Part of Noxema is still there, but the part sold off. This was all wooded, beautiful wooded, like parkland, and the developers have stripped it and made it into this fallow. Look at this. It's terrible. Terrible. Anyway, so there's the Valley View Farms, which is a local like nursery garden center. And then the place we're going to is actually right next door, the Pennsylvania Dutch Market. So we're gonna go here. These are Baltimore suburbs, American suburbs. And we're kind of early, right? So it's only 10 o'clock. Typically, it's very busy. Like if you come here later in the day or like closer to lunchtime and throughout the day part, it's really kind of madness. And honestly, I don't know if it's really like worth it. Right? Like there's some stuff here that are good, but I think one of the things with the Amish markets is that people kind of have this impression that it's all like homemade. But if I go to the deli section here and I look at the packaging, or if I look at the product, I'm hard pressed not to believe that some of it's not straight from Cisco's catalog. But we're not here to worry about that. Peter, how are you this evening? Peter, why are you with us? It's a Friday night. I think you should be out partying, right? It's like midnight or something like that. You should be party at the club. I remember there were the days when I was on Friday night, 11 o'clock, 12, actually we wouldn't go to the club till 12 midnight. And then we'd be at the club all night long until about 5, then go eat at this diner, and go home and sleep until like 1 o'clock. Okay, so here's our market. Pennsylvania Dutch Market. There's a bunch of these in my area or this region of the country. All are pretty much similar in style, but they've got all kinds of stuff. They've got a furniture guy here who wasn't open the last time I came. And there's our donut places right here. We'll take a quick swing around so you can see some of the things that are in the market, just kind of out of curiosity. Nixon says, do you believe in Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior? Yes, but unfortunately, most people in America do not. Here's some like popcorn. Most people in America say they believe in Christ, say they're Christians, but you know what? Everything they do is against the teachings of Christ. Like most people in America don't understand Christ. Here, look at that. Here's some nice stuff there, okay? Then there's a bakery. Like the bakery's pretty good. I like the bakery. But here's the problem. Okay, here's the problem with the bakery, right? So I come here to this bakery before, like all this, very American. Here, cream cheese cupcakes, we call black bottoms, whoopie pies, really nice stuff. And the women here bake everything here, right? Really pretty good quality. However, like some of my favorite things here, what is my favorite thing here? This is pretty good. This English toasting bread is quite good. $6 a loaf. Now, the only thing is that one time I came here and I really like this bread, so I asked them, it's kind of got the tangzhou kind of like texture to it, so it's got a really like it's extra hydrated. But one day I went to ask the ladies, what's the difference between this and the regular bread? And they couldn't tell me. They were like, we don't know, we just use the mix. And I was like, oh man, see, this is what I'm saying. Like, you think that it's gonna be like all this crazy good scratch-made stuff, and I guess in some respects it is, but it's like a lot of it is just kind of like in a mix that they don't really know what they're doing or why it's like that way. Here, apple dumplings. That's interesting. Egg custard pie. Coconut custard. Shoe fly pie. Shoe fly pie is something that's really popular in this part of the country. It's kind of like similar to pecan, but it doesn't have the pecans. It just got molasses. It's basically molasses with brown sugar. Or what else do we have here? So here, this is the cutaway. The shoe fly pie, right? There's a cutaway. You can see that. Peter says, I'm actually watching and listening YouTube and doing my exercises. Oh, excellent, excellent. So we I'm glad that we can be of service to you when you're exercising. Power plant says, this looks fine, but kind of bland. Oh, which one? Some of the baked goods? I mean, no, I think the baked goods, these are classic American style, like here, pineapple upside down cake. So what I mean by that is that we always talk about like desserts and stuff like that here in America that are kind of sweet. Pumpkin pie. These tend to be on the sweeter side. But, you know, they're nice. They're like really kind of homey and stuff like that. There's a bunch of cakes over here. Pardon me, sir. A bunch of cakes. Strawberry cake, orange cake, red velvet cake, chocolate cake. I love chocolate cake. Yellow fudge cake. Love that. And then we have whatever rolls, then bagels. I'm always gonna say, oh, here, this is another thing, right? So pretzel rolls. I had these one day and I thought they were awesome. Like, these are awesome. Like, I was like totally bought a bag and I was like totally pounding on it, making burgers with it. And then one time I came back and they didn't have them out. And I was like, hey, do you have any more of those rolls? She's like, oh yeah, let me get them. And they were frozen in a box from a commercial baker and they just put them in bags. And I was like, oh God. It's like you have the impression that it's like homemade or made here, but it's really brought in frozen. It's kind of disappointing in that respect. Okay, so we've got reduced baked goods. So they have some stuff that's reduced from, and here's the thing. So like you've got stuff reduced, like this is all the reduced aisle, so that they're half price. But like, let's say you're here on a Thursday, they're closed all week. So you wonder, where was all this stuff all week? Frozen, I think, but still, you're like, what? Ooh, fresh strawberry cheesecake. Gosh, that's tempting. Boston cream pie. This is very popular in America. I mean, this is all very popular. They will sell out of this stuff pretty quickly. Oh, here's that other white bread that I was telling you. This is the other white bread. It's pretty good, but the toasting bread is better. I like the toasting bread better. So more pastries. Look at that. Oh, key lime pie. Key lime pie. And then more stuff. So they've got a lot of sundries and stuff like that. A lot of like raw ingredients, dry ingredients here. Ooh, pardon me. So dry ingredients if you want to buy like stuff. So here's spices. So they're buying spices in bulk and they're just repackaging them. I don't know if that's. I mean, I guess that's pretty good. Whole coriander for $1.99. But I kind of like to know the origins of the spices that we buy, so I don't know. I don't normally buy spices here. Then they have stuff here like from Bob's Red Mill. Power plant says, I'll take our Mexican supermarkets in California. Cardenas for life. No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. I mean, but that's one thing I must say, that like there's a whole world of like foodstuffs, whether it's a Mexican or Middle Eastern or American, that I think is wonderful selections to choose from and to like really explore. Like, for example, I like a certain type of noodle. Like this is like if I see something like this, extra wide egg noodles. These are like American style egg noodles, which I don't normally buy. But I think there's a time and a place where like you buy those and you use them. Let's say like in a beef stroganoff kind of thing. Oh, it can be fantastic. And then here, like another thing from America, like these are like American jams, right? So elderberry, double raspberry, cranberry, like different jams. It can be really wonderful. I mean, I tend to make my own most of the time, but sometimes there's some nice, interesting stuff like blackberry. Like I don't get blackberries enough to like make jams. It's kind of expensive. So here, like if you buy blackberries, they're kind of expensive, right? But this $5 for a blackberry jam, that could be pretty good. Pickled beets. Ooh, pickled beets. This is very American, right? And then here's their different like relishes, pepper relish, corn relish, pickles. So there's some good stuff here. There's some good stuff that I gotta say that I kind of dig. Red beet eggs. I love red beet eggs. Like I want to have more red beet eggs. And then we've got the cheeses. So I was here the other day looking for cheeses for the time we were doing the Swedish cheese. I bought it here, and so they've got. And I always thought they had like a wider range, but they really only have like American like local cheeses. But there's some nice selections here. Champagne cheddar, Dutch Gouda, the Havarti style. Here's the butter cheese. That's what we bought. We bought the butter cheese. So nice, locally, I think a lot of these are locally, like here, Minerva Dairy, where's that from? Minerva, I've had this, we talked about butter yesterday, I've had this butter before. From Ohio, Amish country butter. This is made in Pearl Valley. I don't know what that is. I think it's covered by the label. Okay, I think we're losing connection, so I can't go further into the market. All right, let's see. What does everyone say here? Peter says, I love the smell of bakeries. I agree. Keone says, Asian wet and dry markets are an adventure. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, he says, I'll take a bite of pecan pie. And Keone says, and Power Plant says, that is for sure regarding the Asian wet markets. Remember seeing slabs of raw pork just laying on a concrete floor. Righteous stuff. Not as cold as yesterday. Power plants are health codes are saying, well, I think it's one of those things where, like, if we looked at the history of the United States, if you go, like, when I was young, here in Baltimore, we had, like, these We had the fish market here, and you used to go to the fish market. Fish, and it was everywhere. Meats were everywhere. But that was because it was butchered, it was slaughtered, butchered, and sold on the same day. So, and here now in modern times, since things is transported so far, like your slaughterhouses, are maybe hundreds of thousands of miles away, and they have to be transported. So there's a whole different world of use that we have now. Like when I'm in the Philippines, I'll go to the markets and I'll see all the pig is just kind of hanging there, and that's fine because it's like fresh, right? So here we go. We got day old $5 packs. This is the place, right? So they make it here. There's the dough cooking away. We've got some. You have some favorite donuts? Let me know. Ooh, look at this Boston cream. Maybe we'll try Boston cream. Good morning, Paige. Black raspberry filled, peanut butter filled. Ooh, my goodness. Glazed cake. Oh my goodness, so many choices. Orange cream, Irish cream. Cream filled. Oh my. Hi there, do you have a favorite donut?
I do. I like the Dutch crumb. Dutch crumb is very good.
Why do you like it? Why do you like that, Dutch crumb? Why?
I don't know.
Okay, I will have one.
Okay.
And then one glazed. And do you have a favorite cream filled or filled? Do you have a favorite filled donut?
I don't really like donuts.
I know, neither do I. But what would you have filled?
Another of the cheese things.
I'm gonna try filled today. Yes, glazed.
Get a powder
You got one of the custard filled. Right here in the mouth.
with powder. Oh, okay.
Sure.
Yeah, that's good.
How many is that so far?
And the powder.
I should not eat any more. Oh, that'd be perfect.
Oh, great. Okay. So that's good.
Oh, you know what? Can I have a glazed cake then? Okay.
You should have got a powder ring.
Should it be glazed cake or apple cider cake?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Should it be the glazed cake or the apple cider cake?
I don't know. It's up
Do you think one is better than the other?
I don't know.
Okay, glazed it is. Glazed it is. All right, so we've got some more here. Look at that. Look at this. Toffee nut, should have got some of that. Fruity Pebble, should have bought that. I should have just bought yeah, oh, and pies. Fried pies.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I'll get a fried pie.
Two of those cinnamon twists. Yes. Yes.
A small, but I got
Did you say the coffee was $2.20, $2.25? Oh, $2.45 for the medium. I'll have the medium coffee as well, please.
$9.85.
Whoa.
We have like one that's full like here. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. All right, thanks.
Okay, I'll take a small cup.
All right, here we go. Coffee time. I'm gonna walk over here to the coffee. Pardon me, ma'am. Walk into the coffee. Coffee here is, oh, sorry. Coffee is self-serve. So let's see what our choices are. We have decaf. So Lancaster County Roasters, so different roaster. Lancaster breakfast blend. So if full and balanced, smooth and nutty, medium roast. So let's see, since it's Lancaster County Roaster, we're going to try Lancaster blend. And I think it looks full, although it looks like they need to clean their brewer. I bet if I was to open it up, it would probably be all like brown in there. Okay, I should not need any cream. We're not going to get cream. Do we need a sleeve? No, I don't need a sleeve. All right, let's go. We're going to go here now. We're going to go outside. I'm longing for the days when we can sit outside and enjoy the weather. Fortunately, this is not those times. It is cold, like unpleasantly cold. I was hoping we'd have better weather, but we haven't. Where's my vehicle? I will catch up with comments in a moment. And I'm hoping I'm not crushing my donuts the way I'm holding them, pressing them against my body. Oh, shit. Well, there went the lid. Look, I didn't lose the coffee. Oh, look. Twins. That's nice. Okay. Let me just get situated here. All right. Another day, another coffee. Smells okay. Like, it's got, we'll see. Yeah, it's a little bit dirty. It's a little bit of a dirty coffee. Not the cleanest, not the sweetest coffee. All right. Where are we? Sorry it's taking so long. Naomi says, ask them if anything made from scratch. I'm afraid to ask those questions anymore here. I just like, what I try to do now is not ask origin questions about a lot of the things at the Amish market. I just kind of like look to see what I'm interested in and like and order that. Because I think that if I started asking questions about origin, I would probably be disappointed. And then like, because that's what happened like in the past. Like I've done that here and it's like, I probably don't want to know that. Because, you know, the whole aura is that it's like from like well-sourced places. But, you know, if it turns out that it's from a commercial, let's say it's the meats. If it turns out the meats is from a commercial butcher, then commercial slaughterhouse, then well, what's the difference between buying this and then going to the grocery store? None. So I'd rather not know. Yeah, it's a little bit dirty. The coffee's a little bit dirty. Keone says, the interesting thing is the only time I got food poisoning from American chain, you know, that's not unusual. Like there's, especially when you're out in other parts of the world, like, but I do think that when you're like at the Asian, you know, because you go to the wet markets, right? Like I'm sure the ones in Thailand are very similar to the ones in Manila. And you walk around and when you come from the United States, I don't know if this is, I presume if you come from Europe, it's kind of probably similar, but or just from Western countries in general, but where everything is hermetically sealed and you see the meats just kind of sitting out in the open in the heat and humidity. And there's like either they're what we call pie-pieing it, right? They're trying to fan it, or they've got little fans, or they've got, or there's just flies and all kinds of bugs, insects flying around, landing on everything. And you're like, oh my God. And there's no refrigeration. You're like, oh my gosh, man, I'm going to die from this. But you know, really, the reality is that you're not, because it's not had enough time to really develop that bacteria that's going to kill, the pathogens that will kill you. I mean, it could have, but chances are unlikely. But then you're going to cook it. And so once you cook it, typically, yeah, it's definitely like this. Yeah, it's not very clean. It's not a very clean coffee. Peter says, would like to go to Nepal, India, and Sri Lanka after my China and Japan trip in June, just to boot you. Yeah, because Japan's very clean, very clean. I don't know about China. I've only been to China. I've only been to Beijing and to Hong Kong. Hong Kong twice, and Beijing only for a few hours. Like I was flying to Manila, and I was flying on China Airlines. So we stopped over in Beijing, and I came across Europe from it. So I remember we had like a 6 hour layover. I had a 6 hour layover in Beijing, and I was like, okay, I want to go see Tiananmen Square because if you're from the United States and you grew up in my time, like the late '80s, like Tiananmen Square was kind of you knew about it because of the tanks and the revolution. Evidently, if you're from China today, you don't know anything about it because that's totally been suppressed. But I was totally interested, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to fly. I'm flying to Beijing Capital Airport. Can I make it to? I want to go see Tiananmen Square, so but it's only a 6 hour window. You get a 15 hour. You can get a 15 hour transit visa at the time. So I got my visa, and the Capital Airport is massive. Like it's like imperial scale, like Chinese dynasty imperial. You're like, oh my gosh, it's like huge scale. You're like, this is incredible. But it's so huge, and the terminals are so far apart. You got to take a train from the terminal to the main terminal, and then you have to walk a hella long distance to another train to take you towards the city that connects to the subway system of the city, and then you have to take another train all the way down to Tiananmen Square. And I remember thinking to myself, let's say 4 o'clock. I was like, okay, 4 p.m. Wherever I am on this journey, if I hit 4 p.m., I have to turn around. If I don't make it to Tiananmen Square, I got to turn around. If I don't turn around, then I'm probably going to miss my flight and be stuck. So it was a little bit stressful, but I did make it to Tiananmen Square. I got to Tiananmen Square, got to the train station, came up. I saw the square. It was one of those things from like Vacation, right? National Lampoon's Vacation, the movie, where just kind of like, okay, gotta go. So I went there, I saw the square, I took a selfie, got back on the train, went back downstairs in the subway, got the train, went back to the airport. And there was a duck place that I wanted to eat at that's close to the wall there, but I was like, oh, can't make that. Power Plant says, show your viewers how to shop around 99 Ranch. Unfortunately, there's no 99 Ranch near me. They're all very far away. Okay, so let's have a look here. So let's start with the donut that started it all. The glaze, right? This is the glaze. So here's the glazed donut. Glazed raised. You saw the raised dough. I showed you the raised dough that they were just sitting there. But here it is. Here it is. This is their glazed donut. It's very soft. Not fluffy. I wouldn't say it's fluffy, but it's soft and tender and chewy. Look at that. It's very... It's a chewy textured donut. Like, I don't really know how they achieved this. I mean, obviously they're using a yeast, they're rising it. But I kind of wonder now that I'm thinking about it, what their flour blend is. Like, I don't believe this is just something as simple as King Arthur, right? If this was hot, man, it'd be sublime. It's very good otherwise. Okay. I'm not gonna pound this one. Although I would like to. It's very good. Put that down. Paige says, Gouda and Havarti are my two favorite. Yeah, they're very nice. They're the Havarti. I grew up, my dad really was a big fan of Havarti, so growing up, we had a lot of that. That was always in the house. George says, you went to Buffalo. Yeah, I noticed that as I was walking deeper into the market, and I was like, okay. It started to lose signal. I was like, I can't go. That's why we didn't go further into the market, because it's like, reception is bad. Yeah. Grab the mocha cream for obvious reasons. We did get the mocha cream. Okay, we did get that, I think. Naomi says, you're asking such difficult questions. I know, I'm always asking those questions. Kyoni says, is cream-filled donuts filled with custard? Never had that except in Hawaii with the filling. Yes, it's typically a custard, like, a typical, pastry cream is basically custard, essentially. George says, those look, oh, you know what? That's what I meant to ask the girl. I meant to buy one of those hand pies. Ah. Okay, so she said to get the mocha cream, right? Mocha cream. What was the favorite one? Oh, the crumble. Let's go to the crumble first. The crumble. The crumble. This is the crumble, right? This is what she said was her favorite. So this is more like it feels like a cake texture. Oh yeah. That's a cake texture. Which actually, I like cake donuts. What's the flavor I'm tasting? It reminds me of a breakfast cereal that I used to eat when I was a child. Or maybe last week. And the nice thing is that it's very soft. This side is very soft. This side, which I guess the bottom, is actually kind of crunchy. I like that. If I had known that the crumble would have been a cake-based donut, I would not have. I would have bought something else than the other cake one. And I decided to go with the 16-ounce coffee because we had a bunch of donuts. And I figured, well, I'll probably need a little more coffee. Okay, so the mocha cream is the one that she recommended for cream filled. I've kind of like damaged it in the bag. But here it is. I think it has chocolate covered coffee beans, which I actually don't really like. But she recommended it, so I'm like, oh, okay, I'll go for that. Like, I would never have ordered this. Like, the idea of coffee, mocha, cream filled. Honestly, coffee flavored stuff doesn't really appeal to me because typically the coffee they use for coffee flavored stuff is really low quality coffee, which makes it taste bad to me. But let's try. There's the hole there where they filled it. So this is the raised dough, so it's very chewy. Now in this case, it looks like it's just whipped cream. Should have got the Boston cream. Yeah, just whipped cream. The coffee flavor, if there's coffee flavor, it's relatively mild. And I think these are chocolate covered beans. Yeah, I'm not a fan of chocolate covered coffee beans. I know a lot of people are. What I don't like is the particulates of the bean after you bit into it. It always stays it's always getting caught in your mouth. I just don't like that. But now that I'm tasting it, it is a coffee flavored cream. Which there's too much cream. I'm not eating that. It's too much. I gotta take some of it off. But I like the texture. The dough texture is wonderful. The power plant says this food be paid for. Well, you have to expect it is the Amish market, right? Pennsylvania Dutch is very Caucasian food. But I have to say, sometimes it's not. I think all foods can be celebrated. Now, I did grow up I grew up here in Baltimore, so this is kind of some of the foods I grew up around. So I'm kind of used to it. Like for me, growing up here, or shall I say now in more modern times, going out and seeing like all these Asian people and Asian markets and Asian foods and restaurants is very strange. And from my perspective, despite me living in Hawaii and traveling around the world, seeing it here in my state is kind of weird because it's like, this is not the place I grew up in. Like I remember one night I was in Ellicott City. It was a Sunday night, like at 9:30 at night on a Sunday during the school year. And we stopped by this boba tea place. And it was packed. And pretty much everyone there was Asian. I was like, young Asian kids, right? And I was like, wow, man, I don't know what my life would have been like had I grown up in a world of like this. Like, what kind of perspective would I have? Naomi says I wonder if they use Folgers. No, they don't use Folgers. Folgers is substantially worse. Like it's based on the tastings we've had with Folgers, like there's no mistaking Folgers. This is a local company, right? Local company, or up in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and they're probably just a regular coffee company making decent quality coffee. I mean, it's not offensive. Like Folgers is offensive. Like it's just like terrible, disgusting. This is just a little bit dirty, not so clean, not so sweet. Not terrible. Like it's not. I don't know. Am I saying this because maybe I haven't had like nice coffee in a while? I don't know. So here, glazed cake is the last donut we're gonna try. Glazed cake. I mean, it's kind of like the other donut, so I should have got a chocolate one. C'est la vie. Neva says if it's brown in there, maybe you'll taste the defect. Oh gosh, the last thing we need is more defecty. Paraplan says it's quite fascinating to see the employees get so flustered on the East Coast when confronted with recommendations. Well, I am, but like I kind of touched on this yesterday, but I am asking the questions that I know are unusual. And honestly, I have, wherever I've been in the world when I've done this, it's off-putting to everyone. Like if you look at the if you watch the I'm thinking specifically of this place I went to called Sometimes I Feel in Bangkok. I just think about that. But if you look at the videos like that I released, and I'll go to these places and I'll ask them what should I have, and everybody's kind of freaked. It is a freaky question to ask people, because a lot of times people say, "Well, what's good?" Right? That's really the question. What's good here? Well, everything's good. But when you ask them, what do you like? Man, I think that, hey, well, what do I like? Well, what about you? So, I guess you could say in some respects that the uncomfortable response that people give is by design. Like maybe I've been thinking that it's meant to be uncomfortable for them, right? Because it's too easy to be like, oh, this is what's popular. Yeah, I don't care what's popular. I want to know what you like. What do I like? And then the worry becomes like, well, what if I recommend something that I like, but you don't like it? Then you're going to be unhappy. And I get that. But that's why I say it. I think it depends. As the person making the purchase and consuming the product, I have to make myself be perfectly okay with whatever they choose. Like I can't be too upset about their choices because I'm asking them precisely what they like. I may not like it, but I'm always doing that with the off chance that, or the hope that I will like it, and it's something that I would never try. Like this mocha, whatever, where did it go? This mocha thing. This mocha, I would never have ordered this. Never. Like I would look at that and be like, mocha cream filled donut. No, I will not get that. But because I removed that prejudice from my selections by deferring to other people's choices, it allows me to try something. And for example, we went to a place in New York City one year called Le Coucou. So usually before the pandemic, there used to be this thing called the International Chefs Congress held by the Star Chefs organization. And I would go there every year, every October, for many years, for over 10 years we were going there. Well, not even 10 years, a good 8-9 years, because it didn't last that long. But one year I'm there, and one of my friends, he's like, dude, you need to go check out Le Coucou, this bistro in the Bowery that's across from the old CBGB's location. And I was like, all right, let's go there. But it's really difficult to get reservations. It's really, then, especially when it was new, now still pretty hard. But I have this thing that I like to do at restaurants. And you have to be really kind of inobtrusive about it. You have to be really kind of humble about it, especially with the more popular. But I'll just go in, and I'll go in at late. I'll go in pretty late. Like we went to Le Coucou like maybe around 10 o'clock. And just walk in. It's not one of the things where I'm like, oh, can we get a table? Never say that. I just walk in and be like, hi. It's the maitre d'. So I was like, and I was like, oh, hi. She's like, hi. I was like, we'd like to eat. It was really friendly. Like, hi, we'd like to eat. And she was like, well, do you have a reservation? I said, oh, I'm sorry. I'm afraid, I didn't realize you need to have, no, I don't have a reservation. I'm really sorry about that. And she's like, and a lot of places, especially when they're really about hospitality, they'll see what they can do to accommodate you. And I'm totally going there prepared to be turned away. But she was like, let me check on something. So she checked. And then she was like, oh, we'll seat you. So they had just me and my friends. So we were able to sit down and we're sitting there and I'm looking at the menu. And this is what I mean by like, you have to try to like be careful about your own prejudices. Because I'm looking at the menu and there's a litany of wonderful looking items. But there's a steak, a filet mignon. And I have I'm one of those guys that's a ribeye guy. Like I'm all about ribeye. I'm all about fatty. I'm all about flavor. I'm all about that business, right? I'm all about that. But because the filet comes from the tenderloin on the back of the cow, it doesn't get any action. It's just very tender. That's why it's tender. But because it doesn't get any action, meaning muscle movement, it doesn't have any fat, it doesn't have any flavor. So it's very bland as a steak. But what people love about it, because it's very tender. But that's also why, because there's no flavor, that's why a lot of people will put all kinds of sauces up with it. So I said to the captain when she came around, I was like, what do you think about, I said something like, what do you recommend, but not the filet? And she was like, well, why not the filet? And I was like, because, filet, and I was like, maybe a little bit like, I'm like, like, I'm at the chef's conference, so I'm a little bit like, it's beneath me, right? It's the flavor is beneath me. And she's like, well, maybe you should reconsider. And she was really great. Like, she was really awesome about how she did it. She was like, perhaps you should reconsider. And then she went to explain how they prepare this filet. And the filet is $58 at the time. And I was like, this is like 2019, I think it was, or 2018. And they do this like multi-part preparation and like 2 dishes and accompaniments. And I was like, God, that does sound great. All right, fine. I'll try it. I'll go with it. Because she was so enthusiastic about it. I was like, okay. Again, I would never have ordered this on my own. It comes, and it is the best darn filet mignon I've ever had. Like, I was like, oh, this is fantastic. Like, I would have it again. So that's why, part of the reason why I like to defer to other people, to the people that are in the field, to help make the choices, because they know. If they're good, they know. The barista yesterday that doesn't eat any of the food at their place, I don't understand that. Like, why are you there? Like, what value are you bringing? I mean, obviously she's good customer service, but it's like, gosh, how do you work in a place and not have a taste? Peter says there's so much variety in the U.S. Yeah, we are the land of the plenty, man. We are the land of the plenty. Anton says, it's fantastic weather here since yesterday is 19. Oh, 19. Good Lord, that is kind of warm. Power Plant says, there's nothing like that in my experience over in California. Really? I'm surprised. I think California has wonderful, wonderful places. Naomi says, it's been so much. Yeah, yesterday, I'm trying to walk, and I'm like getting blown around. I was like, well, I'm getting blown around. I don't know if because I've lost weight or something. Like, am I getting blown around more than I used to? Like, I feel like it was, I don't know what it was. Power Plant says, coffee being described as nutty is always a... Peter says at the high of 33. Wow, really? High of 30. Oh, yeah, it is summertime for you guys. Low of 28. Yeah, 33. That's good. I like that. Keone says there's been an increase of donut shops in Krung Thep, Bangkok, but it's more Japanese style. However, there is Tim Hortons shops in the city too. Oh, interesting. There's one Asian donut shop chain that people talk about that I've kind of been curious, but I never have taken the time to go. There's quite a lot of them in Manila. There's a company called Jco Donuts, J.co CO Donuts. And I know in Manila they're very popular, but I've never been. I need to go. Peter says, I'm in the air conditioning. Oh, good. But the weather's nice. I would love to have that kind of weather right now. Like I've had enough of winter. I walked outside the house today because I got to go to the mill, and the mill, of course, is outdoors, so you got to be cold. And I'm like, oh God, here we go again. Anton says, I had a medium dark roast that was really nice and some nutty notes as well. Yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with nutty necessarily. Of course, it's going to be, I think it's always one of those, maybe it's one of those things where you hear the people say nutty, but they're actually buying like lower quality coffee, so the coffee is like actually terrible. And it tastes like nutty. No, it doesn't. It tastes like butt. That's what it tastes like. George says that typically coffees from the style dispenser are too hot, so if you aren't patient, this first sip, well, try. I haven't. This wasn't too bad. Well, then again, I didn't taste it till we walked out here. So, and as it by itself, it's not fun. It's not fun. It's only fun. It's only enjoyable because this woman is having a difficult time parking. She's going to crash into the car behind her. I'm not one to think that women are poor drivers. Because I had a girlfriend, one of my girlfriends, she was a driver. Like I loved her. Like she would wear her jeans, and she's like Latina, so they're always like tight jeans, and like she would wear jeans and wear high heels, and she had a stick shift, and she would gun that vehicle. And it was one of those times where, like, sometimes you ride with people and they're like, and you feel like you're scared. Like, I never felt scared with her. Like, she drove like a mad dog, and I was like, oh, totally fine. She totally has control. I was like, so I totally missed that. Totally missed that. All right, so let's see here. What else do we have? This Power Plant says, Anton, that's great. Just saying red flag, not a causation. Ah, gotcha. Not saying wrong, but maybe describing as red flag takes maybe a little bit. Paige says, that looks tasty. I'm not even a cake donut. Yeah, the cake donuts are pretty good. I can't say they're bad. Like, they're pretty good. I typically get cake donuts when they're blueberry cake. I'm a big blueberry fan. Or powdered cake donuts, especially the mini powdered cake donuts. Power Plant says cider donuts seem to be the only. Cider donuts are good too. There's an apple cider orchard not too far from here. Unfortunately, they're closed down for the season, right? It's really only from like September, October, November that you really can go there. But they make their own cider donuts. Ah, good, so good. We used to buy them and serve them at Spro. Peter says, I forgot to buy my pancake mix now. Well, there has to be a grocery store that's open late, right? 24/7. Although there used to be 24/7 grocery stores before the pandemic. I don't know if there are anymore. Naomi says, I'm not a fan of coffee flavored sweets either because I typically have coffee with it. Yeah. And a lot of, like I said, a lot of times I find the coffee that they're using in their product is terrible. Like a lot of times you see these recipes for coffee flavored, mocha flavored stuff, and they're like, yeah, use instant coffee. Is like, what in the world? Or use this like powdered like espresso coffee. Is like, well, God, that's just terrible stuff. Like, do you not care about the flavor of your baked goods? Paige says, I'm hopefully going to the U.S. Barista Championships in Raleigh tomorrow or so. Oh, yeah, that'd be awesome. You should go. You should totally go. I would be interested, if you do go next week, let me know. Remind me that you went. And what you thought about it. I'm very interested to know what you think about the barista competition from a spectator's perspective. I won't say anything more. I've already said something about this in the past. I won't say anything more about it today, but I'm interested to know what you think. Power Plant says that tiramisu is the king of coffee flavored desserts. I like that. Dev says no, Starbucks is a spoken like a true specialty coffee person. Yeah, but I don't like Starbucks coffee either. Like if I go to Starbucks, it was always for the unsweetened tea. Like we used to have a Starbucks nearby. It's closed now. They opened a new one, but the staff didn't know who I was or didn't know what I did for a living, so they were like just treated me as someone as just a regular Joe. And it was a quiet Starbucks, so I could go there and sit down for like an hour, 2 hours and read or just do work or whatever, just be alone. And I would just get the largest iced tea without sugar, and I would just hide out. So nice. Now if I go, I'd probably get like a pink drink. Kind of like the pink drink. Naomi says, I think they're hesitant to say their fave because you might not like it and want to exchange it for another free of charge. Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that possibility, like. And I hate to this is my raw thought, and I hate to say this because it kind of like demeans their position, but also part of me wonders, like, does a regular line worker in that position, would they really think about like that whole, like, if I tell this person what I like and they don't like it, will they want to free? I wonder. Maybe. Yeah, you're probably right. I think my thought is, it doesn't give them enough credit. Peter says, if you ask me what I like, I would sell you the $130 geisha. This is why we don't go to the fancy coffee shops on this show. Because we get wrecked into wild trouble for that. There is a method to the madness, Or that civet cat poo coffee. Oh, that would be kind of interesting. Power Plant says, I want something with more texture. Oh, there we go. There. All right, so here's our... See, it's still chewy, and I wonder if they put something like maybe rice flour or tapioca flour, a portion of that in there to get this chewy, rubbery texture. Like, it's not quite a mochi donut. And maybe it is, because look at the crumb, right? The crumb, right there. To me, it doesn't look like a normal, like, wheat floured crumb. The only problem is that, and like a mochi donut, I find the colder it gets, the less I like it. Like, it's nice. It's chewy. But I wouldn't say it's awesome. Like, when it's hot, it's awesome. So, yeah. George says, hopefully your coffee today was inoffensively bland as last night's Felix cigar. Actually, it is, like, if we were compared to last night's Felix cigar, which was relatively, not I would say bland, but just generally pleasant. This is worse. This is not that pleasant. As a coffee by itself, like, I wouldn't be drinking it by itself. Like, I would not. And I would not be enjoying it. George says cake flour with cornstarch added gives a similar texture. Oh, that could very well be it. Like, it would seem like maybe this is the prejudice side of me, but it would seem odd that this donut shop would use like tapioca or rice flour. Like, again, I'm not giving people enough credit for discrediting their possibilities, but I just that's my knee jerk reaction. So what's going on for the weekend? Anything good? My friends want to go out to dinner tonight. I don't know if I'm going to go. I'm kind of like, I was supposed to, I thought we were going to be in Cincinnati this weekend, or more specifically Covington, Kentucky. But then like it's my niece's birthday, so she was like, "Oh, you're gonna come to my birthday thing on Friday or on the weekend?" Now it's gonna be Sunday. It was gonna be Friday, then it was Saturday, now it's Sunday. And I was, well, I think I'm gonna be away, and she looked pretty disappointed. Like, she's older. I don't know why I'm feeling so bad about it. But I was like, I'll just stay around. And then it turns out my aunt is pretty sick, so it's like more difficulties. So I might go to my bonsai club meeting is tomorrow, so I'm thinking about going to that. But it's all the way down in Virginia, so it's like an hour and a half drive away. So, but it's only once a month, so I probably should go. But we'll see. But anyway, all right, because that's good. There's our donuts and coffee here at the Dutch Market. If you have a Dutch Market where you live, check it out. It might be good, might not be good. I don't know. All right. Well, thank you very much for tuning in. Be back with another episode of the Coffee Q&A after the weekend on Monday. So I hope you have a wonderful weekend, or have a great evening for those of you who are in darker parts of the world. The rest of you here in America and other daylight parts, hope you have a great time. Kiona, hope you're having a good time in Salt Lake City. Say hi to John Piquet if you happen to see him. So hope you guys have a wonderful day, and be back again soon. Have a great weekend. Oh.